Good morning, students. I hope you are going with your teachers and you are not procrastinating your work. Nothing should pile up. Once you leave the work for tomorrow, tomorrow never comes. Okay, so here we move on to the third content of our book Beehive. After the first chapter fun they had, we did The Road Not Taken, which was the first poem of the book. And now we move on to the second chapter of the book after that poem, which is The Sound of Music. Chapter number 3, The Sound of Music, is divided into two parts. We have to study about two different personalities under chapter 3. The first part is about Evelyn, who is a young girl and who is a multi-percussionist. But the strategic chapter is the girl who is a multi-percussionist. Percussionist is somebody who plays musical instruments. And Evelyn is multi-percussion, means she can play a number of musical instruments. She is deaf. Yeah, right. She cannot hear. So a girl who cannot hear is playing a lot of musical instrument to entertain the world, the people. This is strange about this chapter, and we are going to learn in this chapter how a disabled girl, a hearing impaired girl, moves across her disability and becomes an inspiration for one and all. The second part of this third chapter, The Sound of Music, is about the great Shehnai expert Ustad Bismillah Khan. About that chapter and about Ustad Bismillah Khan, we will talk in the next video. In this video, we will finish with the first part of the chapter. The name of this first part of the chapter is Evelyn Glennie Listens to Sound Without Hearing It. Now, before we move ahead with the chapter, you should know the clear difference between listening and hearing. Now, hearing is something that we hear with the ability of our ears, which is a sense organ. So, when a sound happens around you in your surrounding and you hear that sound, that is called your hearing ability. But listening is when you understand that sound and when you are able to grab what sound is that, from where was it produced, how is that going to help me. Example, listening to a lecture or listening to this video, which is going to your brain and you're intercepting the meaning of the sound that is falling on your ears. So the chapter is Evelyn Glennie listens to the sound without hearing it. So she cannot hear that sound that's produced in her surroundings, but definitely she can listen to it. Means she can understand it, she can take the message to her brain and intercept the sound. Now, this is a very young girl, and at a very young stage, her disability was discovered. She was merely 8 years old when she was playing a piano in some family gathering, and somebody called her name Evelyn. Her mother noticed that somebody is calling, but my daughter is not responding. And knowing the daughter's nature, she was sure that she could not hear her name. Now, this was the first instance when the mother of Evelyn Glennie, who is Mrs. Isabel Glennie, discovers that there is some problem with my daughter's hearing capability. Fine, days moved on, Evelyn managed somehow, but at 11 years of age, it was fully and finally declared that Evelyn Glennie could not hear anything. The parents were called by the principal of the school, and with a meeting with all the teachers who taught Glennie and the principal, it was decided that Evelyn could no longer continue in that school because she cannot hear and intercept anything. So she should be taken to a special school. Principal suggested she should be taken to an expert. Now everything was black for Evelyn. Evelyn mentions that in the chapter. Everything seemed suddenly black. All of a sudden, she was told, "You are not normal. You cannot study in a normal school. You should consult an expert." When they consulted the expert, then the expert suggested them that she should be given hearing aids. And with those hearing aids, the instruments that are used to help a deaf person hear, she can be sent to a special school. Now, parents were not very happy with that decision. They did not want their child to stop being treated as normal and suddenly be overloaded with that disability and go to a special school. Naturally, no parents would be glad to know of the disability of the child. But here, Evelyn acted very strong. She behaved very strong, very strongly, and she told her parents that she wants to pursue music and she would overcome her disability and she is going to definitely win over the hearing impairment. Fine, parents were anyhow with her. They took her to different musicians, different percussionists, but none of the trainers or the teachers accepted Evelyn as the student because of her disability. One percussionist that they met, Ron Forbes, he was himself a multi percussionist. He caught the passion of this girl, Evelyn, and he decided that he is going to train her, he is going to teach her. And gradually they started with the classes. As they started with the classes, Ron Forbes told her to not hear the music with her ears but to feel it some other way. How did he start that experiment? He tuned two drums at different vibrations and asked Evelyn to come barefoot on a wooden flooring where those instruments were kept. And when he played those drums, Evelyn could feel the vibrations rising up that wooden floor to her toes, legs, and all the limbs, and suddenly up to her body. Evelyn was thrilled to get these vibrations in her body, and this was the first success she felt for herself. She was overjoyed at the fact that she can feel music, she can listen to it without hearing, and she is going to now take this as an advantage and is going to be successful. And true enough, where dedication works, nothing can fail you. She went ahead and there was no looking back from that time. Now, coming back to the beginning of the chapter begins when she is standing on a railway platform. The first paragraph of the chapter is when she is standing on a railway platform and she can hear the train approaching. Not the sound hearing, she can feel the vibrations of the approaching train. She was very happy that day because she was 16 years of age and she was going to join a music school. The music school was in London, Royal Academy of Music, and this was an overwhelming experience for a girl who had spent her early days in Scottish farms. She was a Scottish girl. After that, I had told you how she went on, how her deafness was discovered, how she went on to meet all the percussionists and the trainers, how Ron Forbes accepted her, and how they started to train her. Now, after that, we come on to the consequent episodes of her life, where it is given about her achievements and how she becomes a source of inspirations, not just for deaf or just for the disabled people, but for all. When she started these musical concerts after learning piano, xylophone, looking at other people, they are playing this, I also want to play this, playing multiple instruments, learning well to be an expert in all those. She started giving concerts and she was awarded with numerous titles and awards for her achievements. She gave even free concerts for the prisons and the hospitals. See, herself, she was disabled. God had taken away a very precious blessing from her at a very early age. But in the introduction of the chapter, we are told he had blessed her with a very special ability when he took away one. Now, with this special ability or the disability, whatever we take it as, she was never stepping back in the noble cause as well. Giving free concert in prisons and hospitals was, of course, her gesture of spreading happiness in the world. And with the number of awards and the titles and the paid concerts that she was invited for internationally, and the name and fame she had earned for herself and she today is known for, became an inspiration for one and all. She achieved what people twice her age cannot even achieve at that her present age. It was overwhelming experience for her, her parents, and her trainer, her teacher Ron Forbes, who believed in her ability when no one else did, becoming an inspiration to not just the people of her sorrow, of her disability, but to the entire world, to the youth of the entire universe. Evelyn Glennie sets an example for everybody here on earth to overcome your disabilities, to take the stones as stepping stones to success. This is the story of Evelyn Glennie that we are going to read in this chapter, and that I have given you the hints to read. I would like you to read this chapter from your book Beehive, and the chapter begins from page number 17. The text is from 17 to 20 page number, and where I have told you what all you will be reading. Once you give the chapter a thorough reading, I will also be sending you notes on your WhatsApp group which you can go through, combining the notes, your reading and this video. I hope you will be thorough with this chapter. Thank you.